G'day guys, welcome to Motorcycle Filming and Gear. This video is all about the mounting options. The mounting options for the helmets, for the bloody bikes, and I'll even go into the tripods and stuff like that. Now the first thing I want to say is that everybody's helmets are a little bit different. Everybody's bikes are a little bit different. The bars, the tanks, the accessories that you have on your bike. If you can hear a dog going squealing, it's alright, it's just Phoebe next door, she does that. What the hell was I on about? Yeah, the accessories that you have on your bikes that can get in the way of things, because there's a whole heap of different mounts and all that kind of stuff. So basically what you've got to do is, with what you have, you've got to work out the best way. And obviously it's also, and you're using different cameras. Not everybody using a Sony Handycam. There's drifts and bloody GoPros and all that kind of stuff. Some are better set up for mounting than others. Like I reckon the drift is most probably, for my purpose, the drift was actually the best mounting camera. It came out of the box, it had the mount stuff. You basically stuck the mount onto there. It had the little clip there. The clip went onto the camera. You just clipped it in and out, and then you could put clips on bloody sides of motorbikes and stuff like that, and it would just pop in and out. It was really, really simple, really, really easy. And of course, they had that adjusting. The lens was adjusting. The clip mount was adjusting. So it just was a really good system. It was a pity that the Sony didn't do that. And the other thing was that the drift camera over the GoPro was that you were able to keep the camera very, very close, a close profile to the helmet, whereas the GoPro, if you had it on the side, it stuck out like this, so it was, you could just see it a mile. Or if you had it on the top, it's up here, you look like a bloody Teletubby. So yeah, the drift camera by far, I believe, is the best mounting camera out there. Oh, I'm just blessed today. If you can hear that, it's a helicopter going overhead. I just thought I'd actually put this in it. This is the stuff we've got to deal with when filming in the backyard. Alright, I wanted to say there's a few things that I reckon are really good for when you're doing mounting, and obviously the first thing is Velcro. So 3M heavy duty, I don't know what the specific is, but if you go with 3M and the heavy duty Velcro, you can't go wrong with that. Putting a bloody using a camera to stick that onto something, it's gonna stay there, it ain't gonna come off. Double-sided tape, as I'll show you on one of my helmets, works really good. And again, go with a 3M or something that, you know, you pay a little extra bucks, and it's not going to come off. The other thing is RAM mounts. You can't beat RAM mounts. They are built bloody solid. They're extremely flexible, and there is a plethora, if I can use that word, and I will. A plethora of bloody attachments. There's like, I've got a book in there that's that thick with all these RAM mount bloody options, whether it's GPSs, cameras, tablets, iPhones, you name it. So they're things that we'll do. Anyway, look, I'll show you the helmets. Alright guys, so the first helmet I'll do is the open face helmet. This was really simple for me to do with the drift camera and also the Sony camera. Because the open face helmets, there's not very many contours on it, it's fairly straight. So this, what you can see here, this was actually the old drift mount. On here, this bit here, there was a clip and it came out a little bit like that and over, and the drift camera would just slot into that, clip in, and then you just press the things and clip it out. So what I did was I just knocked that that covering part here off and just filed it straight. I've put some Velcro on there, and of course I've got Velcro on the back of the Sony. That just goes on there, clip it on, and that's it, that's done. Now I was lucky enough with this helmet is that I had it where it was fairly like the orientation, it wasn't like this or like that, it's fairly straight. So really, really simple to do it on that, and of course it doesn't come off.
Alright guys, so the second helmet is this dual sport helmet. Same thing I've used Velcro. Again, Velcro's on. Stick it on and hey presto, it's on there. And the same as that, it hangs on there. But the difference between the two is that I was very limited in where I could put the camera without the camera hitting or being pointed the wrong way and stuff like that. So that for me, it was down here was the best option. But if I was to stick it directly on here, the camera would have been off like that. And I couldn't adjust like the drift. I couldn't do that and then adjust the lens. So I had to build a little extra mount to bring that, that curve out to make the camera sit straight. And I'll show you how I did that. Basically, this piece of plastic or whatever it is, here's a picture of where I've got it from. So it's in my backyard. There's an old sign from years and years ago. I just cut this out of it. I don't know what the material is, so I can't tell you. It was from a sign writer, and this is the material that they use. So it's just some type of light plastic, and works really good because I was able to do that and then get a file and shape it. So you could do it with a piece of wood like MDF or something like that, and all you're doing is shaping it so that shaping it so that it either comes out or in, or so when the camera sits on it, the camera's going to be straight. So that's what I did. I shaped that, then I just covered it in bloody duct tape. Try and get you up close on it. So that you can see that there, it's got the duct tape around it. Then I've used the double-sided tape to stick that mounting to there, and then the Velcro is stuck to that mount. So it's a bit of a, it's a hodgepodge, but it works. It just does the job. Now this has been running for years like that. Years and years and years. And coming off and all that, and it just still has not bloody moved. So that's what I've had to do. Now I know that if you search on bloody, the best thing if you're looking to try and work out how to mount your helmet to your camera to your helmet, get onto Google or YouTube. Get onto YouTube and go, Sony AEST or whatever you've got, Sony Action Cam mounting option or helmet mounting or something like that, and hey, a plethora will come up, and everybody's got lots of different ideas, and they're all great ideas. There was one that I seen that the Sony camera comes with what they call, not this waterproof housing, it's a skeleton, a Sony Skeleton, which it kind of like sits in there, but it's still all open, and it allows you to have that bottom thing open to put your microphone in. But this guy had actually made up, he got some GoPro mounting stuff that he then was able to attach to that skeleton thing and then have that in there. And when I was watching it, it was bloody fantastic with how it worked, because he had all the movement to have this going all that way, which is really great. But at the end of it, I seen it, and the bloody thing was sticking out there like that. Now for me, and that's fine, because the camera's still small, it's not as bad as the GoPro because it's such a big blocky looking bloody camera. But for my personal thing, that's no good because I fall off motorbikes. And as I've said before, I'm trying to keep this camera as hidden as much as possible so that people don't see it and get distracted, the viewers type thing, because I have cameras that look at me and all that kind of stuff. And then there's also, as I've stated before, about in some states of Australia, it's illegal to have a camera or anything attached to your helmet. I won't go into that. So I'll just quickly now tell you that obviously with the Sony cam, me having that like that, as it is, no casing, so it doesn't have a casing. So with the casing, that makes that waterproof, dustproof. You could most probably drop it and you'd save your camera. I don't know about the case. But I keep mine out of the case for when it's on the helmet, which means that it is susceptible to the dust, water, rain and all that kind of stuff. So far, fingers crossed, that's done a lot of in sand and dust and the elements and all that kind of stuff. I've never had a problem. Recently, with Alistair, we went out for a ride and we got quite a bit of rain coming on. So this got quite a wet. Now, granted, it would have only been for most probably 15 minutes of rain actually coming down on it as I'm riding along. But so the camera was not affected. Now I have the sticky tape that goes over the. You right there? God, just the dog chucking up. Sticky tape over the that external microphone. That there is where I put my other mic that goes into there, but that's because it fits in there really snugly. It's pretty safe, and it's on the bottom, so any water that's coming down, it's actually wanting to come down, not go up and in. So yeah, I mean, yeah, if we were having torrential rains, I'd most probably pull the camera off and not worry about it. But like I said, you've got to give and take on certain things. So that's all I've done with everything that I do, is I'm just making things work for how I want to do it, and I put up with certain things because I like other things better. It's a bit like a girlfriend. You'll put up with her shit because she's got much better, her good things outweigh her bad things, if you know what I mean. Actually, guys, I should bloody clarify, because I know there are women that watch these videos. And so for the women, you know that you put up with your bloke's bloody bullshit because he's got more good bloody points than he's got bad points, and that's why you put up with him. It's something that's I've got to actually clarify that in some of the other videos. That I always say, hey guys, or g'day guys, or whatever. Guys means everybody. I'm not saying guys because you're all guys. Majority of you guys are guys, but when I say guys, I mean everybody. Male, female, whatever. Otherwise, I've got to go, g'day ladies and gentlemen, or girls and guys, or I don't know. It's not how I do things. Alright, so the other mounting option is where the Sony has, onto it like a tripod, so you've got that standard size, whatever size that bloody thing is. All tripods that you would sit on. Where is it? Here it is. Has that little thing. So this is the what do you call it? Selfie stick, which I've talked about before. So that just goes on there, winds on, whoop, whack her on, and that's it. That works really well, except for that thing where it does that. So I'm still looking at that. People have showed me some other things, but I haven't had a need for it because I've been riding the DR650, so I haven't been really using the selfie stick that much. So yeah, so the Sony, you can only use that when you use this particular case. I'm not sure about the Scully, what they call the Scully case. I think it most probably has that as well. But if you want to mount your Sony onto a selfie stick like this, or onto a tripod, you need to stick it in one of these. And the problem with when you stick it in one of these cases is that you lose your microphone. You don't have any sound to it. You can obviously hear a little bit through it, but you can't put your external one in there. So I've looked at it, and maybe I could drill a hole through there, or hopefully not wreck this bloody little clip system. Possibly could do it, but I don't need to do it. I use this only for on the selfie stick, or for mounting it on the bike somewhere. All my sound comes from my helmet, so I just don't need it. So I just don't need to do it. Alright, so while we're on the topic of, so if you want to mount to the bike, let's just say, well, I'm going to go through these mounts with you, but basically, so I have, same deal, this goes on there. You know what I'm doing, I don't know why I'm doing it, but basically, so that's how that works on there. I'm going to run through all the different types of these for you. Alright guys, so now these RAM mounts, they're made up of basically three components. There's this component here, or this is one type of component that attaches to the bike. So obviously you would put through a handlebar or a bar on the bike, that gets clamped onto there. Then you have your middle piece, which then you just loosen this up. That slots in there. Then you just tighten that up. So now you've got your arm, and then you have another piece which is all different types. So you've got this type of thing. That would then, you loosen this up again. Sorry, I'll be back. So basically I'm putting that in there. Ooh. And then you really hunker it down, but at the moment, so you've got lots of different movements, and then obviously, you know, all this kind of stuff. So that's why these are really good. They're great for getting all different angles and stuff like that. But that's basically all the three different points to it, and then obviously your camera just sits on there. So starting with that first piece, so you've got that where you can clamp that onto a bar. The other ones that I use are these clamps, so they have a windy thing. And then you can get these in all different bloody sizes, depending on what size you want to clamp down onto. So basically, yeah, you clamp down onto whatever you're clamping onto, and then your camera sits on that. Pretty bloody simple. Actually, I'll just show you up on this ceiling. Just recently did this when we did the last cooking video. So you can see I've just screwed a block of wood up there, and then just use one of those clamps, and then I've got the arm, and then this is a quick release system which I'll show you, and then the big camera just sat up on there. So as I said, you know, 101 different bloody uses for using these RAM mount stuff. So that was there. So they're the main things. So it's using that one, and one of these type is the main thing. I'll show you how I stick them on the bikes. Then you've got arms, so you've got I've got the long arm, and then there's the short arm. Hopefully you can see that. And then you've got the top part, which is where the camera sits onto that. But I have this universal quick release mount, so you would have seen these on tripods. Basically your camera sits in there and it clamps down. I'm all over the bloody shop. So you see that there on the bottom of this camera, I've got this quick release. So that, when you buy this quick release, you get that piece and you get this. So basically that sits in there. I just move this little arm and it sits in there and it's locked in. So that holds that in place. So I've got a whole heap of those. I have them on the tripod that you guys are on, as you saw up on the roof. And then if I was to use this on a bike, which I normally wouldn't, I could put that on there and then use that on the bike as well. So that's pretty much it with the RAM mount stuff. Now what I'll do is I'll just go around and just give you a quick look at how, you know, where I've used those RAM mounts on the bikes. Actually, before I go out and do the bike, so this is the tripod that you guys were sitting on, and there's that quick mount. It just really makes taking the cameras on and off really quickly. Yeah, it just works really well. They actually come from, you can get them from camzilla.com.au. I can't remember how much they are, but I'll put that up on the screen here. Now another good thing, just while we're on this tripod, if you ever get a tripod, make sure the tripod doesn't have it doesn't have that arm and all that kind of bullshit. Make sure it's got this swivel thing. So if I just loosen this just moves around like that, and I tell you what, that is the best thing ever. Whenever I have to use one of my other older ones, I get so frustrated with it. This just makes it really good for lining up. Alright guys, so the first one is on Nay's postie bike. You can see on the back here, this was too thin for this to work, so I actually just screwed a bit of extra wood on there. And if I do that, lug that down, and there you go, that's on there solid, so that's a back view coming off Nay's bike. Alright guys, so on Nay's postie bike, so this is another one of these, except where that is there, these little round bits, you can screw that round knobby thing onto there, which then means I can put this extra arm on. Basically this just clamps down, and then then clamps on there. You put your camera on there, and then you've got some movement as into which way you want to have it bloody sitting. So that, when we did that ride through, did the ride through the Bendigo Creek, and that was all bumpy, had no problems. That stayed on there. That was really good. I thought it might have come off, loosened up or something, but it actually did hang on to there. So that worked really well. So now over to Max. So he has that bar clamp on there, as you can see. I'll put some rubber stuff in there just to protect the bars. So it's clamped down on there. And then you can see I've got the long arm. And then that there is, I use that for the putting my iPhone. So I use it as a GPS. And then over here, I've got another one there. And that's what I use to put, to hook on another one if I wanted to. I've had a double length one. That's why I got this one on there. So I've got another length to get it up, and then so it's back. So you get more of a view looking backwards. On the back here, so same as like what I did with May's bike. So I can have this clamped. Oh, so there you go. That's just clamped onto that pannier rack bar. So then that gives you a, where is it? There it is. That gives you a look out the back. All right, last but not least, good old Harry. And he's pretty much the same as you can see there. I've got one of those clamps on there. I normally use that for the GPS, but I can also have a camera sitting there. But as I said, I haven't done a lot with Harry, so I'd most probably whack another one there for having a camera facing back. I'll just show you down here. I've still got one of that's the clip mount, the drift. That was on my helmet, and that was the part that I actually grinded off. You can see that. But that was really good with drift, so I just stuck that on the side there, and then I had the camera facing out the back. It actually gave a really cool look. But you know, with all those ram mount stuff, you know, you can hook onto stuff like this and have a cool shot coming out through the wheel. Yeah, lots of places that you can attach stuff to. But when doing that and having extra cameras, it makes the editing a whole lot harder to do, because you've got so many different camera angles and trying to match it in and cut and splice and all that kind of stuff. Not to mention, you know, having to pull up while you're riding along and go, okay, I'll grab some footage from there and all that kind of stuff. It takes a lot of bloody effort and work. You know, and I was doing that quite a lot to start with, but because it was fun, you know, getting those shots, and then but after you start to get it, you go, oh. You know, obviously I'm filming this stuff and I enjoy that, but I've also got to bloody enjoy the ride. And sometimes, you know, I've managed to find myself a balance with enjoying the rides that I do and filming the rides as well. So that's very important, making sure that it's not just, you know, you're not travelling along and bloody seeing all these places and doing everything through a bloody video camera, through the lens of a camera. You know, you've got to see it for yourself. Cool. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something out of it, but I think the main thing out of this whole thing is that you've just got to play and work with things that's to suit yourself. Your camera, your bike, your helmet. Just got to fiddle and muck around, which I find enjoyable doing. Some people don't. Sometimes it can be bloody frustrating and a pain in the ass and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's not easy. So if you're struggling with it, we've all been down that track. If you really want to do it, you just got to stick at it and keep stuffing around until you find what works for you the best. Nothing's ever going to be bloody perfect. Yeah, so there you go. Alright guys, keep on riding.